And in Maribor, this is a big thing. The whole city becomes a whole big festival city with good cuisine, with good wine, obviously. At least 20 restaurants will be accepting Bitcoin, if not more, because we have our own payment system here in Slovenia, which is being used, and you can pay with Lightning or Bitcoin in at least 20 of these places. And there's going to be live music all around the town.
Welcome back to the Compass Mining Podcast. My name is Jarrett, and today I'm joined by Marko Tarman from NiceHash and our very own Kris Bakker from Compass Mining. And today we're going to talk about the conference that is coming up that NiceHash will be putting on to celebrate their 10-year anniversary. Marko, Kris, thank you for hopping on. Marko, if I could, thanks for giving us the time, spending some time with Kris. I know you've met Kris, and Kris will obviously be at the conference. Before we dive into the conference and all that, could you just give an overview of kind of what NiceHash is? What are some of the products you guys offer? And for people listening who maybe haven't heard, it's a good time to kind of give that shill.
Okay, so where should I start? NiceHash has been around for more than 10 years. Obviously, now when we have the 10-year anniversary conference. And since the beginning, the core product has been the same. So it's a hashrate marketplace, or as I like to call it, a spot on demand deliverable hashrate marketplace. Now, what else should I tell? Basically, we've been building around this product the whole time. At first, it was only the marketplace, then we built a lot of GPU software, and lately we are focusing on ASIC and especially in business to business relations, let's say.
Very, very cool. And actually, now I want to throw the mic over to Kris. And Kris, thank you for joining us. Kris, how did you and Marko meet? Do you want to talk a little bit about that? Because I think it was also at a conference, unless I'm wrong.
Yeah, that's correct. So as a company, I knew NiceHash from long ago. I started mining in 2017 with GPUs. So using NiceHash back then was probably the easiest way to, use your GPU power and get Bitcoin in return. So the brand was always known to me. And then I think it was the first edition of Bitcoin Amsterdam was where Marko reached out and we were talking about, hey, how can we, make sure that the Compass customer is being helped with what NiceHash is building? Because NiceHash as a product is so much different than a mining pool is. And so that's kind of how our relationship, I would say, started. And from there, as everyone in this industry, you keep bumping into each other at every conference and, you keep talking about how are you doing? What are you building? And that's kind of how our relationship evolved.
Yeah, it's very interesting. When you meet these people from the industry, later on, you quite become let's say decently good friends. You're happy to see each other at every conference. So that's one of the best things about the conferences, I would say.
That's what I was going to say as well. The Bitcoin community is small relatively, and then the Bitcoin mining community is extremely small, as I'm finding, especially at conferences. You run into the same people, so it's always good. Kris, you already kind of stole some thunder there. I was going to ask you to speak a little bit more actually about the product side as you work with so many of our Compass mining customers. Can you talk about the difference between using the NiceHash products and then maybe, mining to a pool? And how that's been for you, as someone supporting customers to make sure that they're getting the most out of their hash.
For sure, and Marko, definitely feel free to jump in where you feel needed. I think the biggest difference when you're looking at pool mining versus mining at a place like NiceHash is that when you're mining at a pool, you are subject to luck, right? Whether your pool finds a block or not, it adds some risk to your mining operation. And of course, there are mining pools who pay you based on the shares, the hash rate you provide on a continuous basis. The difference is that NiceHash is really a marketplace. So there's no luck involvement. There's no, is this block big? Is this block small? No, it's really about how much is someone willing to pay right now for that hash rate. And one of the cool things is that when you mine at a place like NiceHash, that if someone is mining on, let's say, a side chain, so they're not mining Bitcoin, but they found a small niche coin that they want to mine, they might rent a lot of hash rate. And that payout that NiceHash at that point can offer can be significantly higher than what a mining pool can offer. So you're really able to catch a lot of upside without having the risk of, do I even find that block today?
That's very good description, Kris. Like the one thing I like to point out is that Bitcoin pool mining, so FPS pool mining, or actually any pool mining, is the pay rates are blockchain based, which means that the pay rate is dependent on the amount of daily Bitcoin emissions, which at the moment is about 4,500, excluding the transaction fees. And and that is based also on the difficulty. So amount of daily Bitcoin rewards and how many miners are mining the Bitcoin, that's going to be your reward. So there's no human factor to it. Whereas on NiceHash, the pay rate is based on the demand. So what are the buyers willing to pay you as a miner? And one of the good thing is that the pay rate pretty much never drops under the FPS pay rates because you have these arbitrage buyers who are constantly willing to buy the hash rate at least 0.5% under FPS. So there's different kinds of buyers. A lot of them are willing to pay premium, but those arbitrage traders are keeping the minimum pay rate going all the time. So there's actually, like Kris mentioned, there's no there's you just reap the benefits whenever there's high demand for the hash rate. There's no downside for it.
Yeah, that's a wonderful overview. And Kris and I actually met before we hopped on today, and he gave me a overview of the product, and I think it's a very fascinating product. And I'm actually interested to see how NiceHash does as we continue into this bull run. I think I can now say that confidently on mic. I think Global Exahash just crossed 700 for the first time. The difficulty is about to hit 100T. From a mining standpoint, there's just competition to be had. So with that increased demand, are you guys seeing at NiceHash? I mean, are you seeing like an increase in, I guess, users or demand in the marketplace? How is that kind of? What are some bullish signs maybe you're seeing on the NiceHash marketplace that maybe resonate with the global, exahash growing and the difficulty increasing?
Yeah, so just actually 2 hours ago, there was a huge spike on key heavy hash market. So this is Kaspa for all the Kaspa miners. The pay rate was 10 times higher than for the past couple of weeks, which is crazy. And that's just because there was some guy willing to pay, or maybe a couple of guys willing to pay huge price. And then not to forget the pay rate in September, which was crazy also. Bitcoin miners earned about 3 times more than any other Bitcoin FPS pools, which is enormous. And obviously, since then, we have been growing in users and miners.
Kris started off talking about how when he was back in the day, and I think 2017 is now back in the day for Bitcoin, he was talking about GPUs. And you guys have now been around for 10 years, meaning 2014. Can you talk about the evolution of how the products have kind of aligned with the evolution of the tech from CPUs maybe to GPUs? Now we're at ASICs.
Okay, so the first algorithm, as far as I know, was script on NiceHash. So the first algorithm that we supported was script algorithm, and at the time, I believe it was still GPU mineable. So that was 2014, if I'm not mistaken. So since then, we have discovered that the big issue when it comes to GPU mining is that people do not know how to set it up. That was one of the core problems. How do you set up a GPU miner through command line? How do you download it? And how do you start mining in general? And that's one of the biggest advantages of NiceHash. And the first breakthrough, I would say, was the development of NiceHash Miner. And NiceHash Miner was a product that you would simply install on your computer, do the benchmarks, and then the NiceHash Miner would run the algorithms, would run the miners, and it would do all the stuff for you. So you don't have to do it manually. That was the first product. Then we also developed Linux type like USB mining OS, that kind of stuff. Then we also have a light miner, which we call quick miner. This was mostly for GPU and CPU miners, but now we are obviously focusing more on ASICs.
So focusing on ASICs, and obviously we're Compass Mining. We are a Bitcoin first company. I know that in the past we've dabbled with other cryptocurrencies, but right now we're a Bitcoin first company. That's not to say that we wouldn't entertain other things, but we're pretty much focused on Bitcoin. So on the marketplace outside of Bitcoin, you've talked about Kaspa, you've just talked about Litecoin, and I know that there's other mineable cryptocurrencies. How many cryptocurrencies do you guys offer on the marketplace?
So as a miner, you can mine more than 30 algorithms, which essentially means if there's at least 2 coins per algorithm, that's 60 coins or more. And obviously there's 5 or even 10 coins on certain algorithms. I would say we support more than 150 coins, just from the top of my head. But of course, because the buyers are paying for hash rate, it doesn't matter what kind of hash rate there is, if it's SHA, script, key heavy hash, or any other algorithm, the miner will get paid in Bitcoin. But it's not because we do any exchange. We don't use any exchange, but instead the buyer is depositing Bitcoins on NiceHash and using these Bitcoins to pay for the miners.
Gotcha. Well, I think that's a pretty good overview of NiceHash, its history, and maybe where it is today. Is there anything you want to share, just because if people are tuning in, for future products before we hop in and we dive into a little bit about the conference and what that looks like and why people should be excited?
Yeah, we definitely have a lot of great products. One of the last one was firmware for Kaspa miners, for Kaspa ASICs. We also have a firmware for Bitcoin miners. We're also working on some sort of ASIC manager. Basically, it will give Bitcoin miners an option or like an ability to overview their ASIC performance locally, so the temperatures, fan speeds, etc. We also have different kind of products built around the hash rate, which is not necessarily mining related. But for example, Easy Mining product is a very good product, very interesting. You can buy a package of hash rate, let's say 100 petahash for a period of time, and you can confirm a Bitcoin block by yourself, basically, with just a couple of clicks. So, for example, you can spend 500 euros or dollars, and you can get the whole block reward by yourself. So that's one of the nice products for retail users, actually.
Yeah, that sounds lovely. On the subject of products, I'm going to throw it over to Kris. Kris, is there a product for you that you particularly like that NiceHash has right now that you could talk about it personally as a Bitcoiner and a Bitcoin miner for you as a, on your own? And then also from a customer side, is there something that allows the overall process to be easier? Because I think that's something in Bitcoin that, in crypto in general, in the space of crypto, but definitely in Bitcoin, the easier we can make it to onboard people and kind of transact, whether that's the UX, UI, and the overall, count. If we can close the amount of steps, people, OGs in Bitcoin talk about how difficult it was to get Bitcoin back in 2011 and store it. And now we have incredible products to do all of this. So is there a product for you personally that you like, and one maybe that's a different product that helps you to, support Compass Mining customers?
Yeah, I would say, I think for a lot of our customers, the most interesting is obviously the main product that they have, right? Being able to connect your ASICs and not really have to look anymore at, how is my pool performing? Should I switch pools? What payout system should I look at? What's my payout threshold? Instead, just connecting your machine to NiceHash and not even having to worry about, especially if you're mining with altcoin miners, not having to worry about what currency am I getting paid out in? What wallet do I need to submit? No, NiceHash makes it really easy to just connect your miners, get paid in Bitcoin. You can just click the withdrawal button. It comes to you within a day. It's super quick. It's just a very easy process. The one thing that I like, and I don't know if this is necessarily something that our customers like, but it does benefit them, is, like Marko said, the Easy Mining product. Because I think, as Marko mentioned to me before at a conference, is one of the cool things is all these products, they kind of integrate with each other. So people who are buying these mining packages on Easy Mining, they are also technically making use of the marketplace, right? So that hash rate is also coming from the marketplace. So even if there's maybe not that many bidders who are trying to get hash rate directly through those mining packages, that pay rate still stays high. So if we see a demand there, that will also push the price. So it's a nice way that they found to really, engage with people who want to mine maybe for 1, 2, 3, 4 hours and try their luck. But also for the people who are mining on a daily basis, 24/7, have those machines running all the time. That's, those two products combined, I think, are just a big benefit for anyone mining at NiceHash.
Yeah, like the most frequent question I get, why would someone buy the hash rate? Like, why would anyone buy the hash rate? And easy mining is a good example. Like, you can confirm a Bitcoin block by spending a couple hundred, couple thousands of dollars. Or maybe there's the hosting insurance. For example, a hosting company can cover the downtime in case of force majeure, for example, or even speculators can buy the hash rate and get some newly launched coins that aren't available on any exchanges yet, So in essence, you're spending Bitcoins to get this new coin that's not available anywhere else. But you have to outbid other buyers to get the hash rate. And that's where the premium comes from.
Very cool. And thank you for all that. That was very helpful to understand some of the products and the solutions that they're solving. And I think making Bitcoin mining easier sounds great. So I think everyone's kind of down for that. Let's shift a little bit and let's talk about the NiceHash conference that is coming up from the 8th to the 9th of November in Maribor. And I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, Slovenia. Kris was recently on actually because he was just at Bitcoin Amsterdam, and we did kind of a review of his experience there, and we focused on 3 different topics. So I kind of want to focus on those topics and throw you those, and to frame what the conference could be like. So let's start out and talk about speakers. Speakers can often, as Kris called out in the check-in we did recently, which was a short format piece of content where he gave an overview of Bitcoin Amsterdam. Speakers can often provide really good educational framework for newcomers into the space. They can also have keynotes that kind of push the space forward. I personally think Michael Saylor's keynote in Nashville was amazing, and I think it was kind of a foundational piece, and now people are using his $13 million base case by 2045 for price as kind of like something that's now being talked about, right? So if you could you give us a rundown of some speakers and maybe call out 1 or 2 that you're really excited about?
Yeah, definitely. The whole conference is, first of all, a conference where we also invite our partners, our business partners. So there's a lot of speakers coming from the companies that we work with. For example, Marathon, like there's a bunch of different companies that will be attending this from all around the world. So, but the one I would point out is definitely Sefidin, the author of the Bitcoin Standard. I bet he has a very unique view on Bitcoin, especially Bitcoin economics. There's obviously going to be a lot of NiceHash representatives. So there's going to be a lot of knowledge shared from inside the company, let's say. People will be able to learn from employees of NiceHash, the specialists from different topics, from legal to compliance to mining, in my case, and more stuff will be covered from NiceHash team.
Kris, I'm going to put you on the hot seat. Is there a speaker or anything you've seen maybe beyond speakers? Sometimes there's panels or some kind of like after hour thing with, led by maybe I want to say an influencer, but maybe not, just led by a certain person. Is there someone you're interested to go see while you're out in Slovenia?
Well, I like that you're asking me this question because at the check-in last time, I said I typically don't really attend any speaking sessions.
I love it.
What I would say, though, is that I did take a brief look at, some of the speakers, kind of the agenda of that NiceHash has been able to put together. One topic that I find very interesting is, what is that future of mining going to look like, right? We've seen like the development of ASIC mining from a period where everyone was just putting everything in the coldest location, We've moved to the cheapest location, where we're trying to build out in bulk. People take loans for miners. That's all a little bit in the past. I mean, people will still do it, but those were like the former trends. And now I'm just very curious, what are the upcoming trends? How can we make mining better? How can we integrate what we're doing with mining? And how can we, integrate that into the real world applications? I know, for example, there's a few companies that use district heating. That's something I think is really cool. Reusing that Bitcoin mining heat to heat up cities. I think that's a wonderful way of incorporating both worlds, right? So that's something I'm very excited about in general, to see those people who are at the forefront of that and where they think the whole industry is going.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you for answering that. I realize and I know that you were like, yeah, I don't really go to hear the talks, but I think that was a great answer. Kris, I want to keep with you as someone who's going to be attending, and this is the second piece here is the networking component. As someone who's going to be attending on behalf of Compass, talk to me about the networking that you're really excited to. Are there certain partners you would like to talk to? I'm sure you and Marko will hang out a little bit of time while you're there. And then Marko, I'll follow it up and ask you about the networking events that you guys have planned.
Yeah, so I would say for me, these conferences are always a great way to, connect and reconnect with, so many of our partners, people who we want to work with. Those are definitely the opportunities I'm looking forward to the most. The one other thing that I think is very cool right now is, Europe doesn't really have that many Bitcoin conferences, let alone mining conferences. So being able to speak to, and in this case, more like Eastern Europeans who are interested in mining, who want to learn more, who are dying to get into the space, and this might be their very first time to actually speak to people who are in the industry. I think that's going to be a very, very nice new experience. I always like talking to people who are not in the industry yet, but are very eager to get in there. And so that's probably going to be the one thing I'm looking forward to the most. I mean, of course, meeting up with Marko is going to be great. I just hope that he has enough time, because he'll probably be busy as hell.
Most definitely, yes. But I always like to take time for you, Kris, have a chat, and it's always great talking with you.
Yeah. So Marko, networking outside of hanging out with Kris all the time, what are some of the things that NiceHash has set up to be able to facilitate networking, if that makes sense? And here's an example. Kris was saying at Bitcoin Amsterdam, when you kind of came into the event space, there was a bunch of chairs and kind of coffee before you got into the event space. It was a very inviting, come in, sit down, get going in the morning. Hey, maybe I'll see you there for a coffee, Marko, and it'd be good to catch up. What do you guys have planned? What's going on both at the event, and then I know many conferences are also driven by their after-hour events.
Okay, I'm really sorry Nina is not here, our event manager. She would probably be able to answer you this question better, but to my knowledge, we will have a network area inside the conference. So this will be an area where people with industry pass will be able to network with other people. So when you're at the conference, normally, at least when I went to conferences, my goal was to meet people. And where can you meet these people? If they're standing by the table, can you approach them? Maybe there's it can be a little bit awkward what to say. Are they available for talking? Are they waiting for someone? So we decided to create a networking zone. And if you're in that networking zone, it means that you're eager to meet people, right? So if you see me there, feel free to reach out to me, and we'll be happy to chat. But it's not gonna be a really huge venue anyway. So it's gonna be like a very nice place to meet the people you want, because even if there's gonna be like CEOs of companies, if they're gonna be there, they're gonna be most likely in the main area, and it's gonna be a good opportunity to have a chat or two with them. Regarding the side events, at the time of the conference, actually on the 11th of November, is the time where the vine matures. I'm not sure what's the English word, but the juice is changed to wine on the 11th of November. And in Maribor, this is a big thing. The whole city becomes a whole big festival city with good cuisine, with good wine, obviously. And a part of that, at least 20 at least 20 restaurants will be accepting Bitcoin, if not more, because we have our own payment system here in Slovenia, which is being used, and you can pay with Lightning or Bitcoin in at least 20 of these places. And there's going to be live music all around the town, uh, and so on. But the main side event, or let's say after event, is DJ Clapton. I'm not sure if I pronounced this correctly. He's a very well-known DJ. He's coming to Maribor, and we're organizing this after party, which will take on the last day.
You know, you said you should have the events manager on, but I think you did a great job. You called out that there's a networking zone where if someone's in there, it means that they want to be spoken to, which is really great because, as you said, it's kind of awkward sometimes at conferences. You've called out the fact that if people stay a couple extra days and hang out in Slovenia, there's going to be Old Vine Festival, and I just looked that up, and that looks ridiculous. And then you called out a DJ, so I think you hit all the things people are going to be excited for.
And one last thing, don't forget that the conference is happening in a hotel, which is known to be like a wellness hotel also. So there's a lot of spa opportunities if someone is into that. It's a good place to relax and see nature and all that stuff.
You know, it sounds like I'm going to miss out on quite the conference because there's going to be a wine festival, DJs, and like spas. So this is so far pretty good. You've actually just kind of worked into the third point, which Kris actually brought up recently on the check-in, which was the overall atmosphere. And I think you've kind of done a good job talking about it. It sounds like it's going to be an intimate conference, maybe not the biggest conference in the world, but an intimate conference where the people that are there in that room are going to be very serious about mining, very serious about Bitcoin, and, you know, looking to make connections where like 1 and 1 equals 3. Is that what you guys are hoping to get out? You know, what are you really hoping to get out of the conference? And as far as an atmosphere, like what's the atmosphere you're hoping to create?
So maybe to point out that this conference is not profit oriented. You know, we are not creating this conference to make money on it. So maybe that should set the tone enough to explain that it's more like a birthday party in a sense. You know, it's 10 years. It's really a huge deal to be present in the Bitcoin industry for 10 years. I'm not sure if I can count 5 companies that have done it for so long. So, but yeah, there's, like I said before, it's going to be a wine festival. We plan to have it a relaxed atmosphere with a lot of content from the speakers. So we especially try to do good content, educative content. We try to educate all of the people that will attend to get more knowledge about Bitcoin. And after all, it's not only about Bitcoin. It's about the community and other aspects of Bitcoin, from philosophical point of view to economics, and all that comes under the Bitcoin umbrella. The payments, I can go on.
No, that was excellent. It does sound like it's going to be a great conference. And I love that you called out that the point of the conference isn't to make money. And I think you guys are in a really privileged position to be able to do that, because many of the conferences that are run in Bitcoin are totally done by companies that are driven to make a profit, right? They're going to invest $2 million into that so they can get $6 million out, pay themselves, and move on to the next conference. So I really like that you called that out.
I'm not saying that this is a bad thing. I'm just trying to point out that
No, I understand.
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing at all, but I do think it changes the dynamic of what you're hoping to get out of it. Once you remove profit from any equation, it can change the way the overall atmosphere, as I asked about, would shift. So, Kris, what are you most looking forward to the conference? What are you hoping to get out of it now, besides the sauna, the Vine Fest, and the DJs?
I was gonna ask Marko to what the nearest store is for paracetamol, but it seems like I can just go into the spa and I'll be fine. No, I think one of the things, like I mentioned before, is that it's so cool that we have not only something in Europe that's Bitcoin mining focused, but something especially in more Eastern Europe, which is obviously a completely different market. I think that typically when people think about Europe, they'll think about more like the West part, right? And so to be able to go there and meet new people, I think that's probably the biggest thing for me. And this is obviously also one of the reasons why Compass is one of the sponsors of the event, because we really feel like this is one of those events that really brings value to the community. It's mining focused. It's like, it's not huge. It's not massive. It's not like a mass advertised thing. This is something for people who want to be in the industry, people who are in the industry, and for us all to connect and just talk about, hey, how can we make what we're already doing even better?
Definitely. And make some friends.
Exactly, for sure.
And make some friends. This sounds great. I'm jealous that I'm envious that I won't be able to attend. It sounds awesome. I love that part of the world. I was recently in Munich, which is fairly close then to Austria and then to Slovenia. So I was kind of in that part of the world. And I do need to get out to Slovenia. So maybe in 10 years, maybe when you do your 20th or, the next time I can. Marko, could you take a moment and just kind of shout out, and I'll put all these links in the description of the episode, but shout out where people can find out more about first NiceHash and then the conference, right? If they want to buy tickets, it's about, by the time this comes out, it will be days away, but obviously if they're in the area, they, might be able to drop in and attend.
Okay, so you can learn more about NiceHash on nicehash.com, but if you want to buy tickets, you can buy them on NiceHashX.com. It's a single pager. You just scroll down to the tickets part, and you can buy the tickets there. I think the cheapest one is 21 euros. It's a daily ticket, and it goes up to, then you have the conference one and the industry one with the networking access, and the VIP one, which goes for, I think, 2000 something. So this, I mean, it's not an expensive deal. If you want to get there for one day, 21 euros, it's not much. And even, spending 200 euros for a conference for 2 day, and the DJ after party. So I think it's a good deal. It's a very good deal.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm on the website right now, and it says the Hello Bitcoin. The 1 day conference pass is 21 euros. And then the 2-day conference pass is 160 euros. And it's also denominated in Bitcoin. If you'd like to pay with some of those sats that seem to be appreciating, that'd be great. Thank you, Marko, for taking the time and hopping on here. Kris, thank you as well. If you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe. If you're listening to this on a podcast platform, please go ahead and subscribe as well. Make sure you're following Compass Mining on X, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And Marko and Kris, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Jarrett.